All right, let's get to the to decision week. So we're having some fun around here with decision week. And one of the topics, of course, is Jalen's future as it relates to whether the Eagles should give him an extension this offseason. I certainly think Jalen and his agent will want it and likely ask for it, may have already asked for it. I would not give Jalen Hurts a new contract. To me, he's got to prove more and especially as the offense evolves, for me to say let's saddle up for another 3 to 5 years beyond the 2 years that's left. By the way, one more year at big money where it hurts them to move off of him, but after 26, they can get out from the contract a lot easier.
This is the last year of guaranteed money. So this feels like the point where when they created this contract, they set out with the plan.
No. 28. That's 28.
No, this is the last year of big money. Of big money.
No, next year. Next year the cap it is $42 million.
Yeah, well, I can deal with that. What's the one this year?
$31 million. It's less this year.
I don't think you're right.
I'm looking at it right now.
I think you're right. We'll talk to Elliot about it later, but I believe they can get out after this year a lot easier.
It says here potential out 2028. Maybe they can get out after 27 is what that's what Spot Track says. I don't know.
Well, I have heard different, but we'll look into it.
The dead cap drops a lot. It's a much less dead. So it goes from 117 dead cap this year to a 45 million dead cap next year, but it's still a big cap.
Gotcha. All right, John, would you give Jalen a new deal?
I don't think I can yet. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't be open to the possibility during the regular season, even though Howie doesn't seem to be negotiating during the season with these last few teams. This used to be a Joe Banner move. This used to be all the time. But it was the younger guys would get re-upped during the season. And I think in Jalen's case, I need to see him jibe with this offensive staff. I need to see him excel and return to excellence before I go down that path to guaranteeing more years.
I agree. I want to play some audio of Elliott Shore-Parks. This is last week after Stoutland was out. Elliott made the point that the offense is going to be very different. I think we know that. And I want to see Jalen in it before I'd commit half a decade more to him.
But you have to be careful. You do have to be careful with the way you handle this.
Well, if he does really well, then the price goes up. So
exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Part of it. Let's listen to something Elliott said about the offense moving forward.
Big changes are coming to the offense. Like, they are going to try something new. And I think by doing this, you are seeing, there's going to be a shift in how they run the ball. There's going to be a shift in how they pass protect. And I think they wanted Stoutland back if he was going to be the offensive line coach. But when you take away a large chunk of what he has done and what how he's done things his whole career, he was not interested in that role. So, we've talked, the whole station, everybody, how big of a change is the offense going to be next year? This is a bigger signal, in my opinion, than the new coordinator, anything like that. Moving on from Stoutland shows that everyone that wanted to change they're going to at least try to do that.
I agree with Elliott. And I want to say it, but I'm not going to give the quarterback, another 5-year $250 before I see him flourish in it. Just not going to do it. I also need to know whether he's willing to run a decent amount for me to commit to the future. He can't just be pocket passer guy that's not that good at that for me to say, yeah, let's saddle up until the year 2032. No way. Absolutely no way. 215-592-9494. Where do you stand on a potential Jalen extension? Would you give it to him or not? I'll say this. Normally a player with this many wins, this kind of accomplishment, a Super Bowl victory, his age, relative health, it wouldn't even be a debate. Of course you'd saddle up. But then there's that, but I saw the Eagles offense. I'm not liking it. All right, the Jalen contract concept, which is part of Decision Week here on WIP. Of the 5 of us here, me, John, Ruben, James, Rhea, would any of us, and James, I'm looking at you as I guess the only maybe, would any of us give Jalen Hurts a of course, to give him an extension means a big one. If he's been making 50, it might be $55 million for the next chunk of time. James, would you give him a contract extension? He's going to want one. Would you give it to him?
No, I want to see him in the new scheme.
Okay. 0 for 5. We're all
Ritchie's been as positive on Hurts as I have been.
Ruben.
Ritchie has been just as positive on Hurts as I have.
Yeah, that would be a no.
You didn't ask me.
Well, I know your answer.
Okay.
Exactly right. By the way, let's listen to something Elliott Shore-Parks said to us last week about Jalen and running, and I'd made a point about Stoutland and probably frustrations that he and others have, internal frustrations with Hurts. Unfortunately, Stoutland's now an external. I cannot believe Stoutland's no longer an Eagle. But part of the reason why I don't give an extension to Jalen, and really even strongly consider it, is because I need to see him run again to know what he's going to choose to do moving forward. If he doesn't do that, he's not that good. Here's an exchange that we had with Elliott last week. As the hierarchy, were pointing the finger at Stoutland, we're taking stuff away from you. Don't you think he's probably saying to them, guys, the quarterback's not running. What do you want me to frickin' do? If the quarterback, I've got an offense that when the quarterback runs, it can be better, and the quarterback's choosing not to run as much. If I'm Stoutland, I'm out of my mind on that.
How do you know the quarterback's choosing not to run as much?
Elliott, what do you think?
I think everybody felt that way in the building.
Exactly.
I think Stoutland felt it. I think the coaches felt it. I think the offensive linemen felt it. I think the lack of Jalen running really hurt them last year, right? And I know there has been reporting that Jalen did not want to run the ball. Like, whatever the reason was, there is no question the lack of a running game from Jalen really hurt them.
I am curious at 215-592-9494 if anybody out there would say, let's give an extension to Jalen right now. Here we're 0 for 5. And when James is a no, it's pretty telling because he's been the most pro-Jalen guy amongst the 5 of us. But, I need to know a few things before I'd even really consider it. Is he going to run more? Is he going to develop within the new structure of
Will he accept the changes?
Good point.
That's the biggest
Good
part.
point. Will he accept the changes, and will he adapt effectively to the changes? And until I have those answers, there's no way I'm saddling up for another, whether it's 5 years, 250 or 3 years, 150. There's no way. But does anybody, and look, typically the resume would be a slam dunk, John, to give a guy an extension. I mean, he's made the playoffs all 5 years he started. Okay, all 5. He's 5 for 5 in making the playoffs. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He has shined in both Super Bowls. He has won one of those Super Bowls. He's been a Super Bowl MVP. Wow. He does not turn the ball over.
We've seen him play like the best quarterbacks do. We've also seen him play poorly, and it gets under our skin when we see him roll out when he doesn't need to roll out, when he gets ghosts in his head, and look, it was ugly. It was ugly, and now everyone is divided on whether this is the guy or not. I don't think the team has to worry about re-upping him for a while.
He could be annoyed by it. I'll say this, John. He could be annoyed, though.
I'm sure he's annoyed.
Because I guarantee you he wants it.
He looks annoyed.
And,
he acts annoyed.
And Bryce Harper, it seems like, has been annoyed for a couple years since he didn't get it.
Maybe. But this, oh, man. To Jimmy's point earlier, the dead cap for this year, my goodness.
Well, that's part of why he's still on the team. But that's not the main reason. He's still on the team because of the success in the past.
But the dead cap next year is $45 million compared to $117 million this year. Next year, it's going to be deciding time. This contract re-upping or not, I think there's a good chance it happens during the season. But he's going to have to show this front office that he's complicit, essentially, that he's willing to give everything, do whatever it takes to win. That's the story that we got from the get-go on Jalen Hurts, and then this past year, for whatever reason, you're hearing rumors that that's not necessarily the case. If you're not running as much as what's necessary to win, then that changes the narrative.
I agree.
That changes the way I perceive him. And I'm sure if that is what was taking place, changes the way his teammates see him too. I don't know the details.
Yep.
I know that he has to play differently than that this year in order to deserve that extension in my book.
Well, we ask you, is there anyone out there that would give him that big extension now?